Hi, my name is Angela Spooner, and welcome to this video on Student Instructional Techniques, the Critical Incident Questionnaire. I just want to take a second and respectively acknowledge that I am living and learning in the Comox Valley on the unceded traditional territory of the Comox First Nation. As an instructor, have you ever wondered how to get students to become active participants in their own learning? Today I'll go over one student instructional technique that does just that. The basis for this information is coming from a variety of sources that I'll share with you at the end of the presentation. There are two categories of student engagement techniques. The first is to engage students in learning course-related goals. And the second technique is for developing attitudes, values, and self-awareness as learners. This is the area I decided to focus on. As a biology instructor, I realized I do not have student engagement techniques or sets that address the second metacognitive category. In fact, until recently, reflective learning practices have been neglected in the biosciences, and studies have shown that these students do not understand the practice or its value as part of the learning cycle. I think it's also true of many bioscience instructors. Yet, deeper learning is strongly associated with Bloom's taxonomy of higher order thinking and learning activities. Realizing this deficiency in my own practice, I wanted to focus more on the higher order thinking techniques of students to developing attitudes, values, and self-awareness, and I wanted to choose a set that was a valid, transparent, and authentic instructional strategy. Truthfully, when I first read about the Critical Incident Questionnaire, or CIQ, while reviewing Brookfield's The Skillful Teacher book, I did not like it. I felt his 5 questions were too restrictive and that my students would not enjoy the exercise and would probably disengage. But since the original design, and due to a resurgence of popularity of the CIQ, there have been modifications to the questions. The CIQ is now presented as a flexible tool that can be based on learner and instructor needs, and I found I could apply the CIQ to all of my courses equally. So I felt starting with the CIQ was best for my first attempt at having science students try reflective learning. So what is a CIQ? Well, critical incidences are significant personal moments that can inspire reflection. In the classroom, the CIQ can help students change an attitude, understanding, or belief in their learning practices by reviewing and identifying their learning patterns and reflecting on their own learning behaviors. Students can become more aware of their own responsibility in the learning process. The CIQ is an individual student activity of short answer questionnaire that can be used as many times throughout the course session as the instructor wishes. The CIQ can be anonymous or not. The standard CIQ format is 5 questions that focuses on critical moments or actions related to their learning. It's a format that can be done face-to-face with printed handouts or an app, or through digital instruction as a survey questionnaire using a variety of delivery platforms. As the instructor, I would plan to administer the CIQs several times in the course, likely early in the first weeks, after the first midterm, and after the second midterm, natural checkpoints. Initially, I would be sure to familiarize the students with the CIQ format and process. I would summarize and share feedback and involve the students in discussions on any trends or changes I would be making as a result. And I would do that as soon as possible after each CIQ. Students are encouraged to submit honest responses reflecting on their learning and keep their own copy of the CIQ responses so that they can review and identify patterns in their own learning behaviors at a later time. Given that I have not yet used the CIQ in my lectures and lab, it was important that I understood the benefits and limitations or cautions as well. Benefits can include highlighting problems and miscommunication early on. The dialogue of the CIQ can foster mutual trust between instructor and students. The CIQ justifies the diverse toolkit of the instructional activities and approaches to students' different learning styles. CIQs can suggest possibilities for instructional strategies and development, benefiting the instructor. CIQs can identify if resistors, and there's usually a couple in every class, are in the majority or the minority. If they are in the majority, the CIQ should probably be taken back to the drawing board. And CIQs are suitable for large or small class sizes although some modification may be needed in the administration of the CIQ when in large classes, so it's not overly time-consuming. Of course, as mentioned, there are cautions to consider as well. The first would be timing. Do not administer a CIQ at the end of a Friday or the last course in the week. Students tend to be in a rush to leave and will answer superficially. Caution should be taken on not overusing the CIQ, i.e. don't use it every week throughout your course. So if you need a weekly reflection more often, select a different set, mix it up. Also, most honest student reflections will be achieved if the CIQs are anonymous, as the chance of the students responding the way they think the instructor wants them to answer is higher on a named paper. Students need to be encouraged to use this as a self-reflective tool by keeping previous copies and revisiting them. So it will take time on the instructor's part, especially at the beginning. Instructors need to be thick-skinned, open to change, and willing to take constructive criticism. And also students may not always be constructive in their criticism. So if there's any times where there's disparaging remarks, address those issues immediately and to the class. Avoid instant responses of changing learning activities if a bunch of students in the CIQ say they don't like it. If you had a sound reason for including it in your lesson plan, then that's just another way the CIQ can explain to students why a variety of approaches benefits the spectrum of learners in the class. I wanted to mention the CIQ has an additional benefit that is even more relevant today in the midst of the pandemic. Because of the act of engaging students in the CIQ, announcing it, making it available, completing it, reflecting on the responses, sharing the common themes, it all fosters the classroom community, even in digital instruction delivery. And this occurs by opening dialogue between students and instructor and allowing an ongoing conversation platform about the course structure and function. Now, before wrapping up, I wanted to leave you with the following thoughts on the CIQ. A CIQ is not about getting students to provide feedback on what they like or do not like about your instruction or the class. The CIQ is intended to help students focus on their own self-learning and ability to self-regulate and take an active role on influencing the class delivery environment. So, if you were like me at the outset, thinking the CIQ questions were not intuitive or connecting with your needs and intent, I hope this overview of why I selected this CIQ and what it can offer has helped you appreciate its scope and power.